Okay, we'll have a quick overview of getting started in Adobe Muse CC. We've opened up Adobe Muse. Now, you might have a welcome page which will ask you to create a new site or open an existing one, or you might be just presented without one. This is the case with us, so I'll just go straight ahead and go to the File menu and I'll say New Site. Now, the New Site panel gives us a number of options to do with the initial layout, which is desktop, tablet and phone, or large screen, medium screen and small screen. Now, when you select these, you might find that they have a little bit out of date on the sizes in pixel dimensions, and especially now with lots of different screens and also different densities, these may not be applicable, so you might have to input the dimensions of the screen you're targeting. Now, I will just leave it on desktop for the moment. Now, it will give you a page width here on the desktop of 960, so if we're laying up to a 960 grid, that'll come in handy. Then it has the height. Now, the height doesn't really matter too much because Muse will automatically expand as we add content on there, so we can leave this at 500 pixels. Now, sticky footer is a fixed element, position absolute, I guess. That's the equivalent with HTML, so we'll leave that on there. Now, the columns, we're going to go for a 12 column grid, so I'll up it to 12. Now, once we got there, you can take the gutters down. Now, we'll just take the gutters down to 10, and that will change the actual column width accordingly. Now, we can change all these dimensions of the margins. We could make them bigger if we wanted to. I just do the top one and then I click the lock there and it'll do them all automatically, or I can just take them all down. I'll take them all down to 0. Now, the padding is space at the top and the bottom. Sometimes you might want space probably at the bottom where you might have your footer and then a little bit of white space at the bottom. Sometimes you might want it also at the top before the banner starts. In our case, I just want it going right to the bottom and the top, so I'll 0 both of those. It's got center horizontally, and again, that is positioning the body with auto so it stays in the middle. That's the equivalent for the HTML. Now, when we go down to the bottom, you'll have resolution standard. You can put it onto high res if you wish, which means ×2. Again, it depends on what you're targeting. I'll just leave it on standard. It's got the language on UK English. If you want to change it, that will change accordingly to do with spelling and language setups. I just click OK to that. Now, this panel you're presented with, there's a number of options here. We're in the plan. So we're in the plan, and the plan offers a number of options. We can put these badges on here for identifying what are the master pages, and also it's got our thumbnails on there which will show us other information. We haven't got that on. We can zoom in and make our plan or sitemap bigger if we wished. It's got some buttons here so you can add a tablet site and a phone site. Now, I'm afraid Adobe Muse will, once you've set up your site, you can click on the tablet and it will do a copy of all those pages. It won't copy the content on those pages, but it will give you the site structure that you then will have to copy the content from the desktop version and paste it into the tablet or the phone version and rearrange it accordingly. Bit of a faff, but that's the way it is currently now. And now we are February 2015. Now, I've already got a home page and it's generated on here. Now we have a master page down the bottom, and if you're familiar with programs such as InDesign, you have master page structures. You create a master page probably for each of your sections. If it's a small magazine, you would only have, say, one master page, and that would be A master. Then you could have B master and C master. Mainly you create one master page with the common structures such as headers, footers, navigation bars, etc., and they run through all the other pages that are generated from the master. You just need to change the master by adding another item on your menu bar, and it will update all the other pages accordingly. Now, we will go up and create some pages, so you'll see there's little plus boxes on the left and right, and also the bottom. Now if I click on the plus on the right, it will give me another page, and I can type in about. So this is going to be the name of the page. Now don't worry if you need to put these all in lowercase or you've put them all in uppercase. It's because when Muse generates these HTML documents, when it's complete, to output them, it will make sure it calls the home page index, and also about will be in lowercase and all the other pages. So don't worry about that. Just name them probably the best base with titles as we have in here. Now once we've got that, I'll just add another page and I'll call it photos, and then finally I'll have another one and I'll call it contact. So you can build up your pages. You've probably done a sitemap and now you're going to create them and build up all your pages in the plan. Now in here you can have sub pages or child pages from each of these pages, so you can drill down a bit. Now if I click on here and the plus sign underneath the photos, I can put holiday, and then I can create another one from that. So I can come over here and I would create one and I'll say C side. So what you would do is you're building up these sub pages, and you can have then sub pages from then and keep on going if you wish. Now you can rearrange pages. So if I want to rearrange this, I would move it over here and drop it there, or I can take it back again. I can zoom in and I can zoom out. So that's how you just use the plan. If you don't want a page anymore, you click up the right corner and click on the X and get rid of it. Now once you've set up your pages, you can then open up your master page down here, and you'll see here it's got a representation of our page, it's got our grid systems, and everything's laid out. Now up at the top you can zoom in a bit, so I've got a bit more space so I can zoom in. Otherwise you can click on the zoom tool here and blow up your page by clicking it, zoom, or you can press then the Alt key and reduce it. So that's how you would zoom in and zoom out. It's got rulers up at the top and the left side, and they work as they would do in other Adobe products like as Photoshop. You click on the top ruler and you can drag it up and drag it down to the position you want it to be. Again, with this select tool, the move tool, you could then drag it and move it again, or with it selected you could press delete and get rid of it. Same applies to if you're dragging one out from the left to do a vertical one, and if you're not happy with it or you don't need it anymore, you can get rid of it. So that's how you would zoom in and zoom out. Now the tools, not much going on with the tools. We have a selection tool, and that's what it does, selects items, move things around. You've got your crop tool, that's for cropping an image, bringing in, cropping the edges. You have a text box tool, which you can do ordinary text and vertical text if you wanted to. Probably you might want to avoid that. Then it has a box, and this will create boxes where you can put elements inside, but also, you know, creating banners and etc. Also you have the hand tool, so once you're zoomed in you can move around. We've already looked at the move tool. They have a number of tabs up at the top, so you can switch between these tabs, which has the same as going between the plan and the design. You'll see it up here, but we've got this tab open which is on master page we're currently working on. Now up at the top you've got a number of boxes with options. You've got a fill, so what we can do is make a shape. I'll come up here and I'll just drag out a shape along here. Now we want to make this say 100%, so we just dragged it out, but before I do that I'll go up here, and what I will do is select a color for the top. Now this is going to be our header. Now we've got a header up there. Now what you can do to make it 100% is you can drag it right out to the edges, or you can click on here. If I turn that off, it turns off my 100%, and I turn it back on, it will do that. So that's 100%. So if we wanted to preview it in the browser, I go up here, it'll preview it. Now that is running right across our page. Right, if I go back to my design, now you'll see these little sliders here at the top, and also there's some at the bottom. Now the one at the top here, that represents the top of the browser window. So if we drag the top one down, it drags our whole design and sort of pushes it up and down. I want mine to be right up at the top. Now the bottom one is the bottom of our header, so we can drag that down a little bit here, and then I can rearrange my header accordingly so it snaps to it if I wanted to make it bigger and drag it down. All right. Okay, this is a good time to take a look at the layers. Now we've created some items on our page, so if I go onto the layers in the panel on the right, here I've got layer 1. Now if I open this up, we'll see we've got the rectangle, and the rectangle is up here. Now I want this to be in my header, so I double click on it and I type in header. I think I might just do it in lowercase, so I put it in header, and there we go. We've created a header with our rectangle in there. Now what I can do is I can add another item, which can be some text. So I click on my text box from the tools on the left. I come over here and I'm going to drag out my text box on here. Once I've got that, I'm going to change the color. I'll make it white. I'll make my size bigger, which I'll make it 36, and I'll type in hello world. Now once I've placed that in there, you'll see it appears in the header folder, so I can close that up and open it up so it's all nice and tidy. So make sure you've got the right layer or layer folder to put in your text. Now we've done some text, so this will be a good time for us to see how text can work and how we can format it. If we click on T for text over here, it's got all the formatting options we've got for the text tool and the options. It's got colors, also you can pick the colors from here. You can center it, it's got underline, it's got all the spacing on there, so you can change things around on here. Now at the bottom, what it has now, it has these options where you can have paragraphs and headers and subheadings, so you can change them around so they're quite more semantic, to do with how, when you make your website, to do with SEO and standard structure. Now we've created this. Now say for example we want to change the font. If you go up here, Arial, it's got a list of web safe fonts, and then underneath them it's got lots of other fonts which are system fonts. Now you want to avoid selecting a system font. What that will do when you export it, it will export it as an image rather than editable text, but you want to stay away from that. So either choose your font from the web safe, or you can add a web font which goes to Adobe's type kit. So if we click on there, we can then find a font we like. So if I go through here and see what we can choose for a font, yeah, I think I'll go for this one, and then we click OK, it'll add it. Now if I go up here, it's put it in here, so I can click on that and it can change it. Now if it's got other options, say for example I went down here and did Source Sans Pro, you'll see it's got a number of different options, whereas the one I've got, Bebas New, it doesn't have those options. So I've selected that and I put it in. Now I might want to bring my text in a little bit, text box, and just have it there so it's not too big. Bring it in. Now I can move it until it centers it, and you'll see there it will center with the smart guides and show me when it's centered in the box behind it. Now, and then finally I'm going to make sure I align the tag at the bottom for heading 1 to make sure that that includes that tag when I output it, that this is heading 1. What I also want to do is I want to save this as my heading. Okay, I open up my paragraph styles, and what I will do is create a new style. I have this selected up here, the heading I just made. I click here, it'll come up with a paragraph style. I double click on it, And what I can do is I can put it in there. I've already selected the tag when I created it. If I just cancel out of that, I already created the tab down the bottom that I wanted this to be. So I've got that. Now when I do this, I open it up and I can just call it just H1, or you can call it headline, and I click on there. So that's the tag it puts on, so it'll put that proper tag on each time I do that. So that's a very good way of laying up your text, so you can put a different style for headings, subheadings, and also body text. Okay, so I've laid that up and it's all in those layers. Now the other thing I need to do is just press preview, and here it is. I've got my header up here at the top. Now if I go back to my design, what I'm going to do is I want to have this to be what they say sticky, so it's going to be stuck at the top, so it's going to be fixed in its position. So I click on the layers. Okay, I click on my header elements on the page, so I just shift click both of them, the text and the background. Now if I go up to the top, it's got pin, and if I click on where it's got pin and I click in the box that is the top middle up here, now once I've done that, it will now stay static, fixed, and everything else will scroll. So what I will do is I'll just create another folder on here. So I click new layer, and what I will do is I will call that by double clicking on it. I'll just call that section 1, and I'll click OK to that. Now inside there I'm going to create a new element, so I'll just drag out a box. I'll just drag it down to the bottom here, and I'm going to change its color, its fill. I'll make it red. Right, now we've got that. We just open that up and we see it's got the element inside here. Now with the select tool, I'll just move this up and you'll see it's on top. So in the layer structure, because that's on the top of the stack, it's got it there. So I'll move it down so it's underneath the header, and now if I've got it, it's going behind, which is what we want. I'll just drag it down, so as I push it down, you'll see the page is pushing down. So that's what happens when you add extra elements in Muse. It pushes down the page elements here. So I'll just push this down a bit. Now when I go to preview, here it is. Now nothing's happening because I need to just bring in the bottom of the window here to about there. Now if I just scroll up, you'll see it goes underneath. It's a bit wobbly, so I will go to the file menu and I'll preview in the actual browser. So here we are in Chrome. It'll just render it up. Now if I just bring this up a bit, if we have this, you'll see it's now going underneath our fixed banner at the top. So that's how to create fixed banner on your page and set it up. And if I go to the plan, you will see now we've got all those elements on there. Now all I will do is go back to my master page. I'll delete that box item. I'll go back to my plan, and there I am with all my other pages set up with the header on each of them. Okay, I'll just go to one of my pages. I'll go up here, I'm in the plan. I double click on the home page, and you'll see here, if I try to edit my banner, try and click on it, nothing happens because that's part of the master page item. I can drag the top of the page and pull it down my design to leave a gap at the top of the browser. That's fine, but I won't be able to amend my header height or depth of it, nor will I be able to do the same for the footer, although I will actually be able to extend the page if I wished. Now if you need to edit those items, you'd need to do it on the master page. Also, we'll just have a quick look at the layers. Now you'll see here with the layers, again, they're not editable. I can't open them up to see what they are. They'll display which are which, but we can't edit them. If I go back to the plan, double click on the master page, here I am with the header. You will see we've got that. We can open it up now, and also we can click on here and edit it, and also we can change the footer guide and the header guide here, and also the footer guide. So be aware of the items that you're working on. Always make sure that when you're on the master page, you know you're editing the master page, and if you're on any of the pages that are made from the master, you know you're working on those too, and you'll see them up at the tab at the top, and don't get them mixed up and have some frustrations where you can't move items around.